What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 11 of Pay to Glory. I just want to start the video off by thanking everybody who's stuck with me thus far through the series, the first 10 videos. We are starting to get some more videos going out a lot more often, so it's still not a regular schedule. As you guys know, as I mentioned in previous videos, I am kind of going through a lot in terms of my personal life, kind of going through a bit of a career change, so I haven't been able to dedicate as much time as I'd like. Eventually, I'd like to get to the point where I can get daily episodes going, but unfortunately right now they're going to be a little bit sporadic, but I'm trying to get them out a lot more often. And one of the biggest things for me is just getting the series going in terms of gameplay. I'm not a knock against anybody else or anybody else's Road to Glory series, but I've noticed a lot of people, a lot of YouTubers, a lot of streamers, I've watched a lot of videos and a lot of gameplay, and a lot of people are spending a lot of time kind of going through the menus and talking about all the SBCs and stuff that are coming out. So I didn't want to spend too much time on that. What I want to get to is just getting a lot more gameplay. I like the gameplay. I like talking about the games. Even though I love spending time in the menus and going through, and there's a lot more stuff in these FIFAs than there has been in the past, I just don't necessarily think they make the best videos. So for me, I don't necessarily want to do it. There's a lot of other channels out there that have that great content on there. I even check them out from time to time and see how people are making some of these SBCs and doing them. So just for me, one of the things that I want to really focus on is getting a lot more gameplay, because in the past some of these videos have been very pack heavy, they have been very SBC heavy, and they are still going to have that stuff in there, as you guys can see by the content on the screen, but I just don't want to have too much of it in the actual series. I'm going to try to dissect the gameplay a lot more. There has been a lot of stuff going on in the community, the FIFA community, with the FUT Champ, so I won't get into that too much, but I just wanted to put my insight into it regarding FUT Champions. You know, FUT Champions is one of those things that I don't dedicate a lot of time to, as you guys have seen with the channel, but it is something that I do respect a lot. I do like to watch, especially the pro gamers. I love watching the FUT Champions series, and it's very unfortunate that you're getting a lot of cheaters out there. I won't name any names. You guys probably know who some of the people out there are, and until they're actually proven to be cheaters, you know, it's tough, because the internet's got some really awful people on it, and there's people that are out there just naming names and accusing people and saying some really awful things before they really even know the truth. So all I'm saying is they're going to get their punishment for cheating in there. They're going to get swiped from the finals and from these competitive games. So don't spend too much time like trolling them, because with that being said, you know, they are going to face their punishment. Their time will come with that. So, you know, it's going to be more than enough. So I've just never been a big fan of internet trolls. I just think they're the lowest form of life on the planet. So try to be kind to each other, I guess, is all I'm trying to say, because it's there's going to be times where something might happen to you, and you guys might be banned from a certain thing, and the last thing you'd want is every moron in the world coming after you. So as that's all I wanted to say about that. With that being said, we are going to jump into the gameplay. You guys saw some packs there at the start, some of the marquee matchup or squad builder stuff, the squad battle stuff, excuse me. But I've refrained from doing a lot of the SBCs. I'm not doing the marquee matchups this week, just because, as I said, I'm finally actually listening to my own words and not going to spend too much time doing the marquee matchups, just because they have been really poor in terms of payouts, and a lot of the cards that are going for them. The Middlesbrough, for example, I had a couple Middlesbrough players in my squad, and I sold them for like 9-10 grand. So I was happy with that, and I'd rather have that than just getting a bunch of more gold players to clog up my pack. Until they're just like the team of the week's a guaranteed team of the week player, I'm not going to spend too much time doing those. So as we came into the first game here, we do go up 1-0 against this guy. This guy had I don't even want to call it a meta team. He was using a strange formation of 4-4-1-1, which you very rarely see. I hate it personally, just because the midfield's flat and the strikers like sit on top of each other. I didn't notice whether this guy was using it effectively or not. He was actually a decent player. He wasn't great, but he wasn't bad. I was lucky to go, I don't want to say lucky, but I probably deserved to go up 2-0. That first goal kind of had to wiggle through there with Griezmann, but the second one, a nice little pass and move, and I was able to go up 2-0. This one really annoyed me. As you can see by the defending, I was trying to stay in front of him jockeying, and he just sprinted by me. I'll take some blame for that. But it was frustrating because I was trying to read where he was going, and I was hoping he would just run into me, but my defender just did one of these and just let him run right past him. So I wasn't able to release the jockey and sprint in order to get up in time. The acceleration was just too fast. So I guess I can take blame for that. But his Montero was actually causing me a lot of problems. That Jefferson Montero card, I believe he plays for Getafe, but he was just, this guy was causing me a lot of problems with that card. So he would get it and he'd kind of wiggle, he would kind of do the zigzaggy type sprint run with it, which was really obnoxious to defend, and he was really unlucky right there to not make it 2-2 with Ben Arfa. But you know, his team, even though it was very cheap, it probably only cost maybe, God, 10, 20 max, like 20k max to build that team. Like, it just wasn't a super expensive team, but he was using it really effectively. Like, he had a good amount of pace, a decent amount of skill, and as you guys can see, he was causing me problems with it. One of the things that he was doing really well was he was mixing his attack up. I don't know if he meant to do that on purpose or if he was just, that was just the way the cookie crumbled in this case, but he was mixing up crosses with going down the middle. Usually guys kind of tend to prefer one or the other. Like for me, I never cross the ball. I'm predictable in that sense. Even though I'm tough to defend in terms of moving the ball around, I don't like to be one-dimensional and say like, oh, I'm just going to do one thing. But he was mixing it up. He caused problems, unlucky not to tie it up, and I was able to counter him there. Nice little move from Ozil. I knew he was going to slide tackle, so I just made the little jump away. Nice little controlled shot, driven low driven shot to the far post, and made it 3-1. That low driven shot is just so overpowered still this year. Like, I was expecting to be dumbed down. If anything, it's better than it was last year. Like, it's actually something that I've just included in my repertoire. I used it last year, but I didn't use it that much. I know it was effective last year, but this year, man, that low-driven shot just causes so many problems for keepers. It's just almost impossible to defend there. Speaking of last year, I actually popped in FIFA 17. I didn't record the gameplay, but I popped it in yesterday just to try it out because I missed a lot of my players, as silly as that sounds. I missed the Team of the Season Alexis, third in for Maguire, Team of the Season Icardi, my once to watch Pogba. I just wanted to play with those guys. I had such great memories with my team towards the end of the year last year, the last couple months. I just had so much fun. I hated the fact that FIFA 17 ended. And I was expecting to go in there and try to play a couple games and really have a lot of fun, but it was actually very challenging. I only went 3-2, and it was some really interesting stuff. So the obvious things were there was only maybe about 1/100th of the amount of players on the market and players playing. So there were guys that were, you know, you could find players, but it was just there was like 97,000 players on the market. Like, it wasn't really that many cards on the market when there was, like, at max last year at one point there was probably as many as almost 10 million cards on the market. So basically 1/100th of the amount of cards were on the market during the gameplay yesterday. Also, the prices were really screwy. Like, my Team of the Season Alexis was going for about 800k, something like that, but you could get his third inform for like 200 grand. 200 grand for that card. I don't know. I don't remember if that was what his price ended up, but like any informed Messi was going for about 2 million. And those cards are not that far apart. So like, I would have gladly spent the money on the Alexis card than I would have with the Messi. That Messi was great, but 2 million coins for any Messi. So it was very interesting. As you guys see there, those cards that I was showing you that I sold, that was because the Liga SBC came out, so I was just getting rid of some of the cards that were going for a couple grand. A lot of those silvers are selling. I don't really have any interest in Cavani, so I'm just selling them, trying to make money for it. You know, as I said, also, I'm not doing the marquee matchups. I'm just selling any cards that come up in marquee matchups. So like this week, Middlesbrough was in there, and I was selling like a couple of Middlesbrough cards for like 9,500, 10 grand. Like, it was just, they're going for so much. I don't think the marquee matchup SBCs are worth that, anywhere near that, especially when you just get like a gold premium or one of those small gold, you know, prime packs. Like, they're not worth it to me. So I would just easily sell the cards, you know, just take the money and run and use it to build up your squad, because you can get a great player for 9 grand, 10 grand, and you would potentially get nothing in any of those packs. So I'd just much rather have the money. So that's my advice for the day. in terms of that. But in terms of FIFA 17, yeah, it was just the gameplay was so interesting. It was like it was hard to really make passes, and I don't know if it was just because everybody had jacked up teams, so it was super spammy, like it was just like bees buzzing around. But it made me appreciate FIFA 18. FIFA 18, you can play a lot more kind of tiki-taka, you can move the ball around, and if you understand the utilization of space, which is really important for like pro football players, like you, not in terms of like FIFA players, but in terms of actual pro soccer players or football players, their utilization of drawing guys out and actually utilizing space is really important. So just something to keep in mind, because in FIFA 18, I think it's really this game, everyone's got the fixed FIFA thing going on, but like in terms of the gameplay, it's not as bad as people think. FIFA 17 is actually really hard to play now. It's super spammy and it's very formulative. So it's really difficult to actually score goals in it, just because everyone's got meta players and it was just really buzzing around. And right now, especially, there's just all like crazy jacked up teams that you're coming across. So as I said, I finished 3-2, and it was a real struggle because those games that I won, they were just as close as the games that I lost. So I didn't blow anybody out. I think I made one guy rage quit, but the other 2 games were very difficult. But anyway, back into the FIFA 18 stuff, the stuff that you guys are here to see. This second game that we came up against, this guy had a 4-4-2 German team. I don't want to call it a meta team. It wasn't too expensive. It wasn't a bad team. It wasn't a great team. But this guy just basically would get the ball. He liked to play slow. As you guys know, I like to kind of generalize people and put them in buckets in terms of their gameplay style. This guy, he liked to get the ball, draw guys onto one side, and then switch it, which switching is so annoying to me in order to defend it. Basically, the only thing that I do is I just let the guys switch it. So my whole philosophy with guys like this is you just keep them to the outside, hold them to the outside, kind of clog the middle, and they have to resort to things like this. They just have to resort to hoping that something comes out of a cross, which that was just really fluky. Like, it just bounced down. My defenders kind of bumbled around. He got it and he smashed it off the bar. So unlucky they didn't score, but he wasn't generating anything up the middle. So I always think that, like, if you can keep a guy to the outside, crosses are very unpredictable, so you might get caught once or twice, but it wasn't something that I was really worried about. I was up 3-0. I was pretty comfortable. This guy, I would get at him quite quickly in terms of my offense. He got unlucky here. This was kind of a fluky goal. I've said so many times that I hate these. The fact that even if you do a low driven, so many shots go through defenders' legs. Like, I don't think this guy defended that this poorly. Like, I didn't really have much of an opportunity here. I just hit shoot. I got a little lucky to get that pass away right here, but just as you guys can see, it just hits shoot and it just goes through the defender's legs. I know they happen in real life, but they happen too often in FIFA, especially considering it's a video game and you should be rewarded for defending properly. The guy didn't do anything wrong there. He just got caught on something stupid. So those are the types of goals that I'd like to see go away. With that being said, I'm not going to complain with the fact that I'm up 4-0. As you guys can see, I was just generating so much offense on this guy, like just kind of getting at him with quick passes, trying to draw his defenders out. He would get flustered, and there we go, made it 5-0 there. That one I felt a little bit more rewarded with. Just because I sent Ozil through with a little pass and move, send him right up the gut. His defenders get drawn out, get caught flat-footed, send him in behind, and Ozil with a nice little finish for our post there, 5-0. And we're on our way here. So, this wasn't really that challenging a game. He didn't have that great a team. He had a very average team, but it was just, the way he played. He just was stuck to the outside. I don't like 4-4-2 in terms of a formation, but, if you can use it, it's fine. If you're going to be a crosser, then probably having like a 4-3-3 or a 4-4-2 is fine, because you need those wingers. But for me, I just like to play inside, cut off those passing lanes on the inside, and make it really hard for him. Right off the kickoff, though, you guys can see here, he does resort. He kind of gets outside of his comfort zone and just gets frustrated and just runs at me, and that was... I'm not going to take any blame off of myself here. I should have defended that better. With that being said, though, the defenders just got caught flat-footed, and they just weren't reacting in time. He would just run right up the gut, and he tried taking a shot and bounced down to the winger. He did a really lazy cutback. The defender just stood there like a goof, and he just ran back inside and smashed it far post. So a really kind of amateur goal, one that I don't like giving up, but at 5-1, I'm not going to sit there complaining too much about it. It is what it is. It's fine. it's not the end of the world. So Lacazette with another 3, Ozil with 1, and Griezmann with 1. That partnership has been really great, so I've really enjoyed that. But as you guys can see there, I did end up winning the title, Division 7. We're into Division 6. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, I just want to start rolling through these. So we get right back into it. We face this guy, CTHN Fisherman. I think his name was Honduras something. So his team, is probably going to be pretty stacked up, just because with a lot of the Central Americans, they usually have pretty meta teams. I know that's a sweeping generalization, but like coming up against like Mexican players, Latin American players, they're usually really good at FIFA for the most part. Like this guy's team though was a nightmare to play against. Like look at that for a meta team: Sané, Jesus, and Sterling, and then that midfield so defensive: Yaya Toure, Fernandinho, and Bakayoko. So he had a very defensive team. It was really well put together, though. I'll give him that. And he was the best player we came up against in the sense that he was the hardest to break down. He caused me the most problems. And he was just probably the best FIFA player of the 3 this day. The thing with him, though, that was really interesting was he was the most aggressive player I maybe have ever come up against. At least in FIFA 18, he definitely was. He would just run at like my players and just try to draw guys out. Look at that for a first goal, though. Like he offered nothing offensively, but defensively he was hyper aggressive. Came right up the middle. Look at this. This shot just bounces off the defender, bounces to his Kyle Walker. He smashes it, hits Felipe Luis, and flies into the net. And then he does that stupid dance. So that triggered me a little bit to the point that I was like, I'm not going to lose to this guy, especially if he's just doing those ridiculous celebrations after scoring a goal like that. But, I mean, I was coming up with this type of stuff. So Lacazette would finish that 9 times out of 10. Unfortunately, that was the 1 time out of 10. Then a little give and go here. 1-timer, smashes it wide. So I felt like I was like starting to panic a little bit. I was thinking, oh no, as we go into halftime, it's 1-0. I was thinking, am I going to lose to this guy 1-0 on that ridiculous goal? As I mentioned before, he was hyper aggressive. That was the only highlight I could come up with in terms of him offensively at the start of the second, because he wasn't offering too much offensively. But just look at how aggressive. Everything was just running right at my guys. He was just coming beelining towards them, slide tackling. He picked up, I'm amazed he didn't pick up a red. But he was picking up yellows left and right and fouls left and right, and the referee should have given Fernandinho about 2 red cards in this game, but he fouled me from behind about 4 times with them. He would just come in and slide tackle or hit tackle or whatever, and it was really obnoxious because he was getting away with it. But as the game goes on, guys that are hyper aggressive, the defenders start getting lazy, and they start making a lot more mistakes, which is one of the things that I do like about this FIFA. And unfortunately for him, he was starting to open up a lot more in the second half. So I was able to actually generate a lot more opportunity. We did make it 1-1 off of the rebound. And then this one, come back here, a little pass inside. Hector Bellerin, left foot, nice little tuck away goal. 2-1 for us. So I was happy because that actually ended up hurting him, as you guys can see here. I don't know if it's just the game starting to punish him for being so aggressive, or if his players were just getting tired or what, but like I took that shot, goalkeeper parries it wide, pass inside. His aggressiveness actually allowed me to turn inside and finish it. And then you guys can see here, speaking of aggressive, he's the only guy I've ever seen do that, just run out with his keeper as fast as possible. I thought people had that out of their repertoire, but this guy would do it with his keeper. He did it once also when I had the ball on the side. He ran his keeper out. So like he was just so aggressive in every possible manner. I know I sound like a broken record, but I can't emphasize it enough. It was crazy. Like, look at his keeper just sprint right out. As soon as I got the ball, he just came right out. Thankfully, Lacazette's good enough that he was able to round the keeper and composed finish. He didn't scuff the shot, able to put it away. So I was really happy with that. I was over the moon at 3-1. I felt a lot more comfortable. But he does attack. He just sent his team into ultra attack mode. Hyper aggressive. It caused my team to turn the ball over. He went side to side, sent the ball through into Sané, and Sané tucks it in. So a little frustrating there because he didn't offer anything else. That was basically his first real effort in the entire half, but a nice little finish there from Sané. And then as soon as we get the ball back, I was pushing for a fourth, and I knew he was going to be aggressive. So as you guys can see here, he comes in, makes a stupid tackle with Danny Rose. I knew he was going to put in a ridiculous tackle. He's been doing it all game. So my whole goal was just to get into the box and basically just hit shield, which I did. He obviously doesn't want to watch that, or I didn't want to watch it, or whatever. But unfortunately, we do miss the penalty here. So when he was moving side to side, I don't know if that flustered me and caused me to panic, but I thought I had a well-taken penalty. I thought he was going to dive. the opposite direction. I thought I had another penalty here because he tackled me again from behind, but for some reason the defender doesn't get a call there, or the attacker doesn't get a call, and we do end up winning 3-2. So it should have been 4-2, maybe 4-1, whatever, if I was being really generous to myself, but we do end up getting the win. So that is going to be the end of the video, guys. I'm going to try to get episode 12 out really shortly here, so until episode 12, I appreciate you guys watching the video, so if you could leave a like down below, that'd be greatly appreciated. Until episode 12, guys, take care. Peace.